And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. New developments in the Shannon Sharpe case, according to Front Office Sports. He was accused of choking a woman, this time a female production assistant. This reportedly happened before his tenure at ESPN when he co-hosted Undisputed on Fox Sports. According to reports, no lawsuit was filed in this related incident, and he settled with that accuser. No details on that. This update comes as he announced he is stepping away at ESPN. In a statement released today, he says he plans to return to the network at the start of the NFL preseason. You already know Sharpe is in the middle of a battle that involves a $50 million sexual assault lawsuit. It's where a woman is accusing him of rape. Joining us to talk about it, defense attorney and former Harris County prosecutor Bayoji Akingbola. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. Your thoughts on these latest developments in the Shannon Sharpe case?
Yeah, absolutely. As an attorney, I always like to think about mitigating risk. Even if, let's say, someone is sued or someone has faced a criminal case, I like to talk to my clients about what can we do in the future to prevent this from happening again. And so I think it's good for us to talk to the viewers, especially men. What can we learn from Shannon Sharpe's situation? And I think a good place to start is going to be, if you look at Proverbs 5, chapter 1 through 14, it lays out this situation to a T. It says if you sleep around, what's going to happen is merciless people are going to take everything that you built. You lose your honor, you lose your reputation, you're at the brink of ruin, you're giving your money to strangers, and we see that with Shannon Sharpe right now. So my advice to men, to Shannon Sharpe, is keep it in your pants. Don't sleep around with strangers. You sleep around with strangers, what's going to happen is you're going to even have a stranger situation where, that you have to face in the future. So how can we mitigate risk, I think, is something that we could all take away from this.
And of course, we are also, and we don't know yet, looking at his career.
Absolutely.
Where he stepped away from the network, ESPN, owned by Disney, and the Spotify $100 million podcast deal. We don't know what happens there. What are your thoughts about those things for his career?
I believe the court of public opinion moves a lot swifter than the court of law. And unfortunately, he's losing the battle of the court of public opinion because we're getting bits and pieces of this. We don't know the full context, but the little bits and pieces that we're hearing, it doesn't sound very good. When you're hearing him saying or joking about choking a woman, or some might say making threats about choking a woman, it's going to hurt him financially. We already see that hurting him now. He's saying temporarily, that remains to be seen, but I do think some of his business ventures are at stake in light of these ongoing legal battles. The hope is, however, that when it does come to the court of law, that's the opportunity to vindicate himself. But it might be too late by then because that's going to be a long and lengthy process. We
had an attorney on here earlier this week who suggested, you know, if he had the opportunity to settle this case before it got to this point, he should have. Would you recommend that to a client, a high-profile client who has a lot to lose?
Absolutely. And in fact, Shannon Sharpe tried to settle this case. In fact, I believe he offered upwards to $10 million.
Yeah, that's the number we're hearing.
But it was rejected. And he did that because of the scenario that he finds himself in today. He doesn't want this information out. I mean, it remains to be seen whether he's liable or not. And I'm not going to speculate. But it's certainly never a good look when you're employed by Mickey Mouse that you, a 56-year-old man, is having any form of sexual relations with a 19, 20-year-old, much less one that is a little bit on the more risque side of things.
And of course, when we take a look at what he is there, do you see, obviously he owns his own podcast, do you see anything else hanging on after this, even if he is totally cleared?
I think it was a misstep for him to kind of litigate his case back and forth with the general public, because again, it kind of just encouraged the person who filed the lawsuit to leak out some more information.
So you're saying he shouldn't have made a public statement, just be quiet?
I think he should have made an initial public statement.
That being written,
yes,
not on camera, not him talking.
Not leaking the text messages, because it didn't look good for him either. And once he leaked the text messages, she leaked the audio. He should have taken a note from Jay-Z. He issued a public statement and went ahead and handled his business. And I believe Shannon Sharpe should be doing that right now. You've already made your statement. Let the courts vindicate you. And in the meantime, go ahead and handle your business and focus on your career. What you have left of it.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Always good to see you. Still ahead.